Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
All right. What do you think this is? She got a big ass!
That's the way to warm up.
Oh, boy. Oh, okay.
You can do this. Because you're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you.
All right, listen everybody. It's Tony Robbins, and I'm here to tell you about a mantra that I use to get ready for my podcast.
Oh, Jesus. All right, let's just do this.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Burr. It's Monday, October 15th, 2022.
For anybody who doesn't listen to the Bill Burr podcast, you're welcome, and I'm sorry. I thought it would be funny and maybe interesting to just do a little warm-up, how I warm up, pacing around the room. And you know what? I don't really do that all the time, but sometimes you got to get yourself jazzed up. You got to get yourself in the right mood. Sometimes some vocal things come out, sometimes some voices, sometimes some just sheer madness. Hey, it's all welcome here.
Hey, it's all welcome.
Okay, I got to stop. Now I'm just going to go into voices. What if I just did the whole podcast as different characters? Would that be fun? Click yes or no and send me your votes today. Oh, if we could do that. That's going to be the podcast of the future. You can live click something that you like. I guess you could do that on like an Instagram live or a Facebook live. You could just do a live podcast and then you could get people's feedback live and on air. But you know what? I'm not going to do that because I like to be able to edit these together and make myself sound a little bit more civilized. A little more civilized. Hope everybody's doing well out there. It is a Friday afternoon, and I am just coming at you with a new podcast episode. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're having a good week. Hope everything's going well creatively. And yeah, what are we going to talk about today? That's a good question. Let me think about it.
The Living Artist Podcast is brought to you by organic plant-based performance protein bars from Garden of Life. Shove one in your face when you're thinking of podcast ideas.
The Living Artist Podcast is also brought to you by Yerba Mate, the highest you can get without doing illegal cocaine.
The Living Artist Podcast is brought to you by LaCroix. LaCroix. Hey, it's what's in front of me.
Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
It's funny because it's true. Welcome back, everybody. That was not a paid commercial or commercials. Those are just things that I did to mess around and kill some time. And you know what? It did lead me into today's episode, which is be yourself and find your authentic voice. Nobody else is going to be yourself for you. And you're the only person that's ever going to exist that is truly yourself. And that's what you have to offer. You know, you might be thinking, well, what is this? You're doing all these voices. What is this? I can't even stop myself. you're doing all these voices. How is that yourself? Well, that is myself. Myself is going into wacky voices and doing shit that just is crazy off the top of my head and launching into it. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm being true to myself. What is true to yourself and to your art? What is something that gives you a unique voice, an authentic voice? How can you be more authentic in your life and in your art? That's really what I want to talk about shortly today, because that's the thing that really stands out. No matter what field you're in, whether it's at work or with your friends or with your family or in the art world or whatever career path you choose, people are looking for authenticity. They're looking for people who have a unique voice that is unfiltered and uncensored, because that's what inspires people. That's what makes people want to hang out with you. Oh, this person is just really unique. They're themselves. Or that's what makes people want to buy your art. Oh, this is unique. Even if you have some elements, we're all going to have elements that are inspired by other art because we see other art. We are a product of what's come before us. And that's always going to be there a little bit. But putting your own spin on it, filtering that through you, and then coming up with your own hodgepodge of this and putting it out on there on the canvas or, in a photograph or collage or whatever you're doing, that is what's going to be you and your unique voice. And how can you work on making that more authentic? Well, a lot of that is just quieting the noise. A lot of that is not getting so sucked into what you see on social media and just the media in general, which is like trying to fit us all into a box and trying to tell us what we need to do. They're trying to tell us what to do. I don't want to be told what to do. Well, okay. So they're trying to tell us what to do, how to be, how to act, what's acceptable, what's the new latest trends, fashion trends, art trends, social media trends, all that crap. And really, you just need to get good at filtering these things out. I'm not saying you should not be aware of what's out there right now and what's influencing people, because that's also going to be something that you can use as a tool. But what I'm saying is, don't let these things affect you too much and try to change your voice or make you feel like you need to fit more into this category or whatever. If you want to be a true pioneer, or not even a pioneer, but if you want to be an artist who has your own recognizable voice or has something that like people can see you online and go, oh, I know that's Sally, she does these kinds of paintings and I recognize it right away, even when I'm scrolling through fast. If you want to be that type of person, which we all do, and which is what makes us stand out and unique and makes galleries want to take us on and makes collectors want to buy you and collect you, if that's what you want, then yes, you need to be taking some time to develop this voice. Or really, it's not even about developing the voice. It's more about cutting out the noise. It's more about like taking away all of the things that have been added to you over the years. We all start out pure. We all start out as kids who have imaginations and have dreams, and we're not afraid to speak loudly, and we're not afraid to color outside the lines, and we're not afraid to do stupid voices. I guess some people don't grow up in that way, right? But we're not afraid to do those things. We're not afraid to sing at the top of our lungs and dance in public. And I'm not saying all that stuff is socially acceptable as an adult, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you can't just go into a dinner party or go into a fine restaurant and start dancing on the tables. You're going to get thrown out. But, you can still you can retain some of that childhood curiosity and enthusiasm and unfiltered creativity. That's something that we need to be able to retain as artists. And if we've lost a little bit of that, it's time to start chipping away. It's time to get the chisel and the hammer and start chipping away. Get back down to your pure form. And I find this too. It's easy to become a people pleaser and to, try to fit in and, want to get into certain groups and want to get into certain galleries and want to get into certain circles and feel like you have to behave a certain way or feel like you have to adopt certain mannerisms or feel like you have to, alter your art in some ways. And you know what? I call bullshit on that. I think it is just something that other people are doing to put you in a box. And I think you need to just stay as true to form as possible. I think you need to stay as true to your art as possible and cultivate that in its truest form. And that's what's going to win people over time. Every time I've had a unique or new series that I've developed or new style that I've developed, sometimes it catches on right away, and sometimes it takes some time. And I'm like, man, and my wife and I are like, oh, I can't believe these haven't sold yet, or I can't believe, this hasn't gotten in a gallery or been collected yet. And then slowly but surely, a year passes, 2 years pass, maybe even it's just a couple months or a couple weeks, but eventually something catches on. And it's like, boom, boom, boom. These start selling, or these start being collected, or, all of a sudden I'm out of this series because it just took some time to be digested by the general populace or the general art collecting populace or whatever it is. You're not always going to win people over with an authentic voice right away. But I'm telling you, over time, those are the things that get remembered. I hate to use it again, but just because it's still in my mind and, in my world right now, I'm still doing a lot of David Bowie stuff. I mean, here's a guy who did something so unique all the time, and he was always redeveloping and redefining himself, but he had a very unique voice. And at the very beginning, especially, it was dangerous. It was off-putting for some people. Some people were really freaked out by David Bowie in his early iterations. And you know what? Sticking to that and seeing that through, being bold and not caring and just being like, yeah, unabashedly, this is who I am, this is what my art is, and just putting it out there. Not only did that reach the group that he was trying to reach at that time and the people who really just fell in love with him right away, but over time, he won over the masses too. It was like everybody else saw him for who he was and saw him for the pioneer that he was. And I still think he's ahead of his time. But that's, you could plug in any one of your idols or somebody who you look up to, creative personas. They all have something like that, which is they were not hushed by society. They were not forced to conform, or if they were forced to conform, they fought their way to break out of that or break free from that. So I'm not saying you have to be setting the world on fire, or you have to be like redefining fashion, or you have to be redefining gender roles or anything like that. I'm not saying it doesn't have to be that big. It can be as stupid and as minuscule as, hey, I like to do crazy impressions when I'm on my podcast, or I like to just be unfiltered and just tell you what I think and how I feel. And I like to just put my art out there this way. I don't care if it's something that's not done, if switching my styles is not something that everybody agrees with. It doesn't matter. If you're doing it and it's coming from an authentic place and it's something that you're following as a passion and something that is speaking to you from deep within, then that is authentic and that is going to be valid, and it's going to be validated at some point. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month or next year, but at some point that will stick because people can see and people can feel and know when they experience authenticity. So that has been just a little quick episode today about authenticity. I know this one was all over the place, but I hope you found it entertaining. Hope it was fun for you. And you know what? If you didn't, that's what's happening. That's what I do. So maybe this podcast is not for you, but that's what we're talking about, being authentic, doing your thing, not being afraid to put yourself out there. Yeah, sometimes I get afraid. Sure, I get a little bit afraid sometimes. Sometimes I get, a little, I wonder what people are going to think about this or whatever. You get a little anxiety about that, but I still push forward with it. I still go, you know what? I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to change the way I'm doing this or putting this out there because it is the way I want to be saying it. It's the way I want to be putting it out there into the world. And hopefully it's bringing value to some people. And same with you. Take what you're doing, take your authentic voice and keep putting it out there unabashedly. And it will also hopefully affect people in a positive way and inspire people to do it in their own lives. So let's take this and run with it. Got some good episodes coming up in the future. Got some good interviews coming up in the future. And you know what? We're going to just keep cranking these out. We're going to keep having this conversation and inspiring each other. So thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening. And we'll catch you all next time.
All right, that's it. On with the day. Getting it done.
Get her done. All right. We're here for your daughter, Chuck.
This has been your episode for Monday. Catch you on the flip-flop, lady.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.